Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, thank you again so much for all your support. Hopefully, these videos are helpful, and hopefully, I can keep growing this channel into something better. Now, I want to thank Chilkey. They sent me out their Slice 75, and then they sent me out their new Glacier 8K mouse. Really excited to take a look, so let's go straight into the unboxing, and please make sure to like and subscribe.
So starting off with the unboxing of the Chilkey Glacier 8K. Thank you again so much to Chilkey for sending me out both the Slice 75HE and the Glacier. I really wanted to check out their mouse because they were telling me about it way before, and I'm super excited about this mouse. Like, this box was great. What they give you inside the box is really awesome. They give you grip for the mouse, so you can put those stickers on the sides, and they even give you like a magnetic Chilkey badge. You also get the extra feet that you can change. You even get a little carrying case, which is awesome. This dongle is incredibly small. You guys can't really see it, but it's actually transparent. You get to see the inside of that, which is super cool to see. And honestly, I'm quite surprised with this whole packaging that they're doing. Like, Chilkey's really up their game. You get a braided cable, which is awesome. It's not anything crazy, but it is nice to see the amount of work that's been put in. Now, of course, we're gonna have to open the mouse and check it out. Now, this is the Glacier 8K from Chilkey, their newest gaming mouse. Let's open up the mouse and take off the little stickers, of course, peel it off. Hopefully that was satisfying. This thing has Bluetooth 2.4 wired. It actually has the complete bottom open. The mouse feels really great. It does have these little edges on the side, which I was wondering how it would feel in my hand. Completely comfortable, does not bother me at all. It has a cool screen on it. It's supposed to be OLED, so that's really cool. Of course, we're gonna have to weigh this mouse because it's supposed to be super light. And after we weigh it, of course, we're gonna actually hear the sound test of the mouse as well. So this mouse weighs a total of about 50 grams.
We did an unboxing of the Chilkey, and my goodness, this thing looks beautiful. This is a really well designed mouse. Looking at it so far and having it in my hands, I'd have to say, if you have someone with a bigger hand, this may not be the right mouse for you because it is quite small. I'll show you guys a little bit closer, of course, but first, let's go into the software, look a little bit more online of the specs, and then, of course, look into gaming and my thoughts on it, and we'll go a little bit more into the review after.
So now let's go into the website to take a look. So you get two different colors, black or white. This is a $90 mouse. So it's 90 USD, 89 USD technically. It is supposed to be a really nice mouse. Right? It comes with a Pixar 3950 sensor, goes up to 30,000 DPI. They say 49 grams. When I weighed on mine, it came to 50, but again, my scale might be not fully accurate. It has a really nice high performance sensor. Goes all the way up to 8K. Right, so you get all the way up to 8K. Of course, when I play Apex, I'm not able to do 8K because it just glitches out the game, but that's just for myself. In your games, you can try out the 8K. Hopefully, your games don't bug out. It's supposed to have their newest Chilkey Blue Ghost optical switch. So they made their own switch, which is really nice to click to. I was actually quite surprised with how nice it was and how good it sounded. They say 49 grams. Again, mine came to 50. It's comfortable with the different grips as well. The mouse is on the smaller side. I find it really, really comfortable in my hands and very, very stable. And of course, they have a web app. So if you go into the Chilkey console, which I'll have linked in the description for you guys, you can actually set up your mouse through the web app. So you don't actually have to download anything, which is quite interesting. You get 3 profiles, and you get from 125 all the way to 8K hertz, angle snap, ripple control, motion sync, high speed. So you get all these features all in the web app. You don't have to download a single thing. Now, one thing I found afterwards is the LCD sleep mode. You can actually set up the auto sleep or sleep following device. The sleep follow device actually keeps the screen on completely, which is really cool to see. I actually really appreciate this screen. So you would think that an OLED screen is kind of useless. it actually grew on me, and I really like the screen. It was really nice to see. Now, you don't get a lot more customization than this, right? You get the key binding, the macros, but this is pretty much it. And of course, we're gonna have to go into Apex to kind of see, how I feel about the mouse and using it, right? So the thing about Apex is the scroll wheel for me is really important, right? I need to be able to tap strafe, and a good scroll wheel is pretty important, specifically even bunny hopping. Without a good scroll wheel, bunny hopping is quite difficult to do. Now, the Chilkey's mouse, right, is the scroll wheel is a little bit on the rougher side. So it is like tactile feeling in terms of the scroll wheel. Like you'll feel every single movement of the scroll wheel. And the click on the scroll wheel is actually really, really sensitive. So if you're an Apex Legends player or use scroll wheel a lot, just keep in mind you will end up clicking the scroll wheel. Now, I was testing like tap strafing, wall bouncing. It works completely fine. You have no issues with it, but just keep in mind that the scroll wheel clicking is very sensitive. Now, I also want to test the recoil control, like recoil control with a gun in Apex. R99 in Apex is known for having one of the strongest recoil. So testing it out, right? Recoil control in Apex Legends specifically, not very difficult to do. Of course, keep in mind that, there's ways to counteract recoil, but I wasn't trying to counteract at all, just pure mouse. One thing, sorry guys here that my gameplay is a little bit laggy here. For some reason, the footage just slightly lagged out there. Now, the wingman, I'm trying to, make sure to do the flicking and make sure my aim is quite accurate, but I found that it was kind of tough to do that accuracy there. Now, this is me in Valorant trying to see the recoil control. So as you can see, the spray goes out quite wide. I'm finding that the side-to-side control of the mouse for myself was kind of difficult to make the micro adjustments. That was just personally, I think I need more time, of course, to get used to mouse. And I think in general, the sensitivity of a mouse in Valorant specifically, and as well as Apex Legends, might be a bit too high due to how light the mouse is. So I kept, the mouse at the same sensitivity as I did for my previous mice. I've been keeping all of them at this exact same sensitivity just to see and, to know how it feels compared to the mouse that I've used for about 2 years now. Yes, for sure. As you can see here, my micro adjustments and my accuracy is a bit off. Now, I think that is specifically due to the fact that the mouse is super light. So this is me actually playing Apex Legends with the mouse. Now, the reason why I chose Apex Legends is because I'm most used to playing Apex, right? I've played so much of it. I have like a couple thousand hours in this game. So for me, this was the best game to test to see how does it feel, right? How does the mouse feel in an actual game instead of just training grounds, instead of just practice. So as you can see here, my aim was not perfect, but again, it's me getting used to the mice. It takes some time for me to get really used to something, but picking up, looking around, completely smooth, no jittering, no latency issues. This is the nice thing to see, right? I couldn't use 8K again because 8K really drops my frame rates for some reason for Apex. And from one of my viewers, they actually left a comment and asking about it for a previous mouse that I tried, if 8K affected it. I thought at the time it didn't, but no, it does. It 100% does. But as you can see here, my tracking wasn't perfect. I felt that in game as well. Like I'm tracking guys, I'm like trying to make sure that my aim is on. No, it's still having a bit of troubles tracking. Now, here I found a fight, so there's fighting here. There's a guy that's coming after me, so you can see here, my tracking here is still slightly off. It was still good. I was able to take them down, and I didn't get down myself, which is really awesome. Here, I even used the rope tech to go up, and the mouse did it perfectly, which is awesome. Even with the scroll wheel that is kind of sensitive and rough, no issues at all. Did that. I noticed here that there were some people fighting, or their fight ended, so I went there to take advantage of that. Went in, got one guy down right away. I see this Wraith queue out, but of course I'm gonna catch him right here. So yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. It is super sensitive. I do have to, lower it. So if you do look at this mouse and you use something a little bit heavier than 50 grams before, make sure you actually change your sensitivity to match that, because this mouse is gonna be a little bit more sensitive, and your movement and your control and aim will be slightly off, right? Every mouse is different. you will have to make those adjustments dependent on. And the best way to make those adjustments is, of course, keep trying it. You know, make small adjustments. Don't make big ones. Make small adjustments to your sensitivity. Don't change the DPI. Keep the DPI the same. Only use the in-game sensitivity. That's what's going to be the best for you. One thing I noticed here too is my movement of going around. I ended up getting down, right? I think in general, if my tracking was a little bit better, I probably could have gotten them without getting down myself. But I felt that my movement to, you know, follow the person at the same time, keep my aim on them perfectly was slightly off. And I actually ended up not moving enough. But here, I even used the rope to jump out quickly and then catch them. But yeah, it's something definitely I could tell. Now I went into Aimlabs, and this is how I test mice, right? This is the way I can do the grid shot to see how good is my score, how good is my aim. So when I was doing grid shot, I felt like I was going incredibly fast. Of course, my aim wasn't perfect, right? You can see the accuracy right there. It's at 88%, which is really not the best. I was super quick with it though. This is probably the quickest I've felt, actually, even compared to other mice that I've used. This definitely felt the fastest. My accuracy was slightly going up, which was awesome to see. And yeah, you can see it right here. Like if you go check out my other gaming videos for mice, you will see that this one is definitely much faster than other ones. And of course, grid shot is much easier to do. Like, I gotta be honest, grid shot is gonna be the easiest training you can do, and it's just fun because you can see how fast you can shoot around. But I think in terms of the grid shot wise, I think this is probably the highest score I've gotten from all the mice that I've tried so far. And of course, we'll see at the end just what the score is. And lo and behold, it's actually a new high score. Now, this was a little bit more tricky because you have to be really accurate, and the target is going to be in completely random spots. So you just have to flick to the right spot. So this is a flick practice. As you can see, due to the sensitivity and me getting used to like the sensitivity of the game plus how light the mouse is, my aim and micro adjustments weren't perfect. And I could see that when I'm actually doing it. I didn't do a warm-up when I did this either, by the way, so keep that in mind. So I did this right away just because I wanted it to be a little bit more raw and see how quick I can adjust to it, and that way I can really understand like what the issues or how I feel about the mouse a little bit more. If I do a warm-up, you get so used to it, then you can just be like, oh yeah, no, this mouse is perfect. But doing it when I'm cold-handed, then it's going to be a little bit more accurate in terms of being able to tell, how I feel about the mouse. The accuracy for sure is definitely needing work. I think my accuracy actually was much lower than what it normally is. My other mouse, I think, is actually around 92% accuracy. Now, tracking is the last thing I did, where actually in Aimlabs, tracking was actually not bad. Maybe because after doing the other two, my hand was actually warmed up quite a bit. But I felt that with the Glacier, my tracking was a lot more accurate than the other mice that I've tried, right? With the Mchos, with my VGN, with the Acco, and even like my Logitech and the Rapu, I think those ones had an accuracy rate of about 20 to 25%. With the Glacier, I'm actually at 32, which kind of shocked me. Normally, I would expect it around the 20s, but no, with this one, like the tracking wise and the smoothness, I guess specifically it's the smoothness of the tracking. The other mice that I've had normally, I feel like I have to really break a lot and tense my forearms. This mouse, I didn't actually have to.
Now, we took a look at the software. We went into a little bit more of a gaming and then my tests of it. And what are my thoughts now? So using this mouse, it feels quite comfortable in my hand. I have smaller hands though compared to most. When we did the more in-depth look of it, of course you can see that, yeah, this mouse works well, right? It has the 8K, has 4K. And the interesting thing was instead of a downloading software, it was actually a web app. So I don't know if that's a plus or minus depending on the person's preference. Right. I prefer not having to download something onto my computer. Some people might prefer actually having something on their computer that they can maybe operate offline instead of online. So that is going to come down to different preferences. The screen was quite interesting to have. It gives you the battery life and such. The only thing about it is it goes to sleep pretty quickly, and it is quite cool though. I would say that I don't know if you guys can really see what it's saying on here on the screen, but it's actually really cool. I find that the information that it provides is quite interesting. It is really useful, and but it does go away pretty quickly. So that's something that I wish they had a setting that would allow you to either keep it on or not. But the battery life on this thing is definitely on the quite of the lower side. I find it does die pretty quickly, especially if you're using it quite frequently. And I don't know. I wish the battery life was a little bit better. I'm gonna be honest. The battery life, I had a charge. I had it 100% before I went to bed. I woke up. I took a look at the mouse, and just on status quo, it went from 100 to 88%. And now I went to work. I came back today, and it's at 81%. I didn't use the mouse at all, but it's already at 81. So these are things that aren't really great signs that your mouse is using and draining battery while you're not using it. The one thing though is it charges incredibly quickly, like incredibly quick. I was at 40%, plugged it in, and within 30 minutes, it was already at 95. That is really quick charging. I'm really, really happy that it charges quick. So that is a plus, right? So you have the minus side of it drains battery really quickly. The battery life is not super long. I think you'll get maybe max 3 days. If you are gaming constantly, probably max 3 days battery life, but it does charge quickly, which is a big plus. Now, I would like to take a little bit closer look in terms of the gliding and see, what your guys' thoughts are, and compare, of course, with the different mouse I have, right? I have the G703, I have the Acco, I have the VGN, and I also tried out like the M-Chose and Rapu. So let's go into that and then come back to my final thoughts in that close look.
So these are the 4 different mice that I'm just going to show on screen. We have the Logitech G703, we have the Acco, the Pulse 01, that's the VGN that I've used for 2 years, and then the new Chilkey Glacier. The Chilkey Glacier, I think in terms of just pure design itself, looks the nicest out of all of these mice here. This is definitely a modern mouse. You can see here that OLED screen. It is really nice. Like, it grows on you. I was skeptical at first because honestly, you don't need a screen, right? You don't need it. But having it, you look at it a lot and you just go, wow, this is nice. Now, as you can see here, the button is completely open. You have the 2.4, the DPI buttons on the bottom. Of course, now we need to do a slide test. Now, as you can see, the VGN is more of a braking mouse. It's not super smooth. You will feel a little bit of friction and feel that the mouse stops quite a bit. The Acco's a bit better. So the Pulse 01 has a little bit better in terms of sliding, but it still feels a little bit of a friction where it's a little bit more of a braking mouse. And it also feels like the front end is quite heavy. This is the G703. It slides a lot easier. You have almost no friction at all when you're sliding this mouse. I was quite surprised with it. This was my original mouse that I had for a while, but no friction. Now, the Glacier does have some friction. You can see how it's stopping, right? So when I push it, it stops much quicker than, say, the G703 would. There is a bit of friction for this mouse. Of course, you can change out the feet if you'd like, but there is definitely some friction, but it does feel really smooth when in terms of in your hands. I think specifically because of how light it is, it does feel incredibly smooth when you're moving on the mouse pad. And as I was mentioning earlier, that I didn't really point out, the DPI button is actually on the bottom, which is really nice because then you don't actually have to accidentally press it. That's one of the things I did worry about in terms of the G703 as well as the Acco Pulse 01. So just to give you guys a little bit of a comparison in terms of how long the mouse is, that is my iPhone. It's an iPhone 15 Pro Max. And you can see with all these mice, the length of the mouse itself. This G703 is definitely the longest. The VGN, surprisingly, also quite large in terms of the size and length. The Glacier is, I would say, the smallest out of all of them in terms of pure length. So in terms of pure length of the mouse, the Glacier is definitely a lot smaller than the rest of the mice. Now, in terms of the height of the mouse, we're going to have to do a little comparison of each one. Now, the Glacier is actually kind of a little bit more higher up than it originally looks like, right? When you look at the mouse, you would think that it's a little bit flatter. It's actually quite high up. So the way I can compare it is with the Acco Pulse 01 as well. It's actually a little bit higher, it looks like, than the Pulse 01. The Pulse 01 is a longer mouse, but the Glacier is slightly taller in terms of from the bottom all the way up to the top. It does feel very, very comfortable though, right? I think the way that they size this mouse, for me specifically, again, I have a small hand, it feels incredibly comfortable. Now, out of all the mice, if I were to choose between them, I would say, and like I've tried the Pulsar mice, I also have the Rapud, the Mchos. These two are probably my favorite mice. The Akko Pulsar one is super good, but it's heavy. That's the only thing. So it does hurt my forearms. The Chilkey, on the other hand, is very light, and the OLED screen is incredibly nice to have. It's just a really nice look. It's a beautiful mouse, right? The thing you're going to look at, right, is the Akko is more of a retro style, heavier mouse for those that really don't want a super, super light mouse and like the retro look. The Glacier is going to be for those that really like a modern looking, nice, small, light mouse. This works well for me because I'm a fan of a lighter mouse. That just to give you guys a little bit of context, I had tendonitis, so I did pull all my tendons and they have been injured. So my forearms hurt quite easily if I tense it up. The Glacier felt super comfortable for me, and it's going to be my everyday mouse. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is the best mouse I've tried, and I've also tried a super light. I would choose this over a super light. I've never tried the super light 2 though, but this is a mouse that I think you guys should all take a look at. I'll have the links in the description for you guys, of course. And you should also take a look at it because you can actually group this with their new Slice 75HE. And the one thing awesome about this too is the dongle is super small. It does get dusty though, so keep that in mind. Dust gets on it really easily. But this dongle, super, super small, very easy to keep around, and doesn't take up a lot of space. So go take a look, guys, because I think this is one of the best game mouse out there.
I would choose this mouse over, say, the other bigger brands out there. And the reason, the bigger brands are quite expensive, right? They are really expensive for a mouse that has this kind of quality. I love this mouse because it fits my hand perfectly. So again, if you are someone with a smaller hand, right, this is going to be a really great mouse for you. I would say, especially if you are someone that likes to do more of a hybrid grip, like what I do, definitely take a look at this mouse. It's going to be worth your time to look at. It works incredibly well. One thing that I really liked about it was how smooth it was and how light it is. I really appreciating how like really nice this mouse is. And of course, you can even pair it together with a Slice 75HE. So you can get both the keyboard and a gaming mouse all together in one bundle, which is really great. And you get 2 good boards, right? You get a really nice Hall effect board and you get a nice 8K mouse. So I'll have the links in the description for both the keyboard and the mouse, and you can go check out my review of the Slice 75, and I'll have to catch you guys next time, but please go check out the other videos I got.